If you're listening to this, then I'm hopefully long gone. It's been 2 months now since the meteor struck Mississippi. There's been a lot of public interest in it. Astrologers and the like all gathered around for a look. They took samples of the rock and shipped them all over the world to museums in every country. Hell, I almost made a trip out to look myself, but I had an interview with a potential employer. If he hadn't called me up the previous day, I'd be dead now. 3 days later, after the initial hype died down, the newsstands reported nothing on the meteor for a couple of days. The next thing I heard about it was when I got home from the pub and turned on the late-night news. I was just in time to catch a breaking news article. The worried-looking reporter informed me that almost everyone who had been in the vicinity of Mississippi when the meteor went down had been hospitalized. Their symptoms were similar to those of a corpse experiencing decomposition. 10 people had already died, mostly elderly, very young. Scientists and geneticists from all over the world were working frantically to try and find a cure. Being smarter than the average bear, I gathered some supplies and prepared for an epidemic. Years of being paranoid beyond reason had finally paid off. The news the next day had a lighter tone. Chinese scientists worked out that the meteor contained an alien strain of bacteria that slowly broke down the flesh tissue. Scientists also remarked that the bacteria were only affecting humans. He had also worked out that if a victim consumed a living being, like an insect, it would delay the progression of the bacteria, giving scientists more time to figure out a permanent cure. Anyone who thought they may be contracting the infection was to eat as many living creatures as they could. The reporter also explained that the U.S. Army was attempting to contain the infection. They failed. Anyone who read the Stephen King book, The Stand, will have an idea of how the bacteria made its way around the world. It passed through the air, but to catch it you had to be near someone who was infected. Because the symptoms took between 2 to 5 days to kick in, people don't realize that they were infected. In a week, the Victus Somes disease, as it had been named, was global. I had barricaded myself in my house with towels and blankets stuffed into every crack. I had the TV turned to the news all day and night, and the scientists had not predicted that the bacteria would adapt to the infected people's efforts at trying to keep it at bay. Victims all over the world were claiming that the insects were no longer working, and people were starting to catch small mammals and eat them. As the day went by, people were slowly eating larger and larger animals. The first reported case of cannibalism was, ironically, the last broadcast ever made. The anchorman's hair was falling out. He was missing 3 teeth. He nervously told America that there had been a reported case of cannibalism in southern Europe. He also said that there would be no further broadcasts. All survivors were to lock themselves in their house and not let anyone in. For the next week and a half, I watched the infected shamble up and down the street, knocking on doors. One of my neighbors, a couple of houses down from me, was stupid enough to open the door. 3 people dragged him out of his house, started biting his flesh. They started with his arms and legs, trying to keep him alive for as long as possible. They were crying as they ate. Their meal was shrieking in pain, and the 3 people eating him were apologizing profusely through mouths of his arm. I don't think they were able to control themselves. It looked more like they were disgusted by what they had to do to stay alive. They tried to break into my house 5 or 6 days ago, but my barricades they held. They were outside begging me to let them in. Just one bite, please. Be generous. I listened to their pleas all night, too scared to sleep. I suppose I should explain why I'm recording this. I'm infected. Yesterday I coughed and lost a canine. I spent the night pulling out my teeth, eating them out one by one. It didn't hurt. It just slid out. Anyway, as I said, I'm infected. The bugs, they have stopped working. All the wild animals have long since run away. I've decided to lure someone into my house and attack them. It sounds so wrong saying that out loud. But I don't want to die. I'm so hungry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.